Good morning, everybody. Let's start a new portrait this week. And we got this handsome man here to draw a portrait, which is, again, it's an extreme perspective, and it's another version of a female portrait, but then in this case, a male portrait, which is turning on his left. Now let's see what to look for and how to start this one. Well, in my opinion, or an easy way to start and make sense of this one would be basically have a squarish shape, which is turned to the left. It's about 45-degree angle. On the right angle, that's about 45 degree. A right angle here, and that's 45 degree, the square which is turned. Well, let's go and start draw that. Basically, we have that 45-degree angle here, another 45-degree angle there. So one here, 45 degree, another one there. Here you have the features, which is nose, chin, eyebrow, and then another one there, which is, I want to lower it so it's within the camera field there, and then down here, this is the that's the square that I see here, and the neck. And the neck, which is about, well, that's about 10-15 degrees of there. So that's another one there. So put that with my charcoal. I can see where I can guide myself with these angles here. There we go. And then you have the chin, nose, hair, end of the hair and skull, of course. And it's kind of it's not a straight line, it's kind of bendy there, but let's make it straight for the R squarish. It's almost square. It's actually more of a rectangular shape than square. Square would be more like that. So, but because it's not square, I mean, as I said, it can be square, but it's kind of more of an elongated left and to the left and the right. So I think that fits it a bit more, this design here. Then you have the neck, and that's the collar here. And so we've got that. We've got the square. Now another way to decipher that one will be that angle, which is the jaw, which is another, it's not a horizontal line, it's kind of bended upwards. That's his jaw. Then you have a triangular shape within the jaw, which connects to his eyebrow, jaw, chin, and that. So eyebrow, jaw, chin, and going back to the eyebrow. So I'm talking about this triangular shape here. So basically, starting it and making sense with shapes, because it's a difficult position. So you need to get the angles right, and also proportions. With the angles, proportions come with it. So I'm talking about this triangular shape here. And the lip and nose, they exceed that line. So you got the nose there, and exceeds. So it's on the top of that line. And then you have the tip of the triangle, which is his eye, and then the eyebrow, and then forehead, and so you've got the eyebrow on the tip of the eye, so this one here, eyebrow, forehead, and then the hair itself. And extend that. Okay, now another line which is important here will be ear, a straight horizontal line from the ear to the end of the eye. Ear to the end of the. So basically, that horizontal line is just below the eye. So that's where the eye. So that should be the line which connects the eye to the top of the ear. Let's do it again. Eye, top. So the end of the eye, and going horizontally, that's the beginning of the ear. End of the eye, beginning of the ear. Okay, we got that. The end of the eye, which is the earlobe, sorry, the end of the ear, which is the earlobe, goes right under the lower lip. That we don't have the lower lip here, but we know that it's the lower lip is approximately between, well, tip of the nose and the chin. So I didn't measure the tip of the nose, but approximately looks like, look, that's the triangle we had before. That's a triangle here. Now the end of the nose appears to be here. Look, that's another 45 degree. That's another 45 degree from this edge here. There. So it's approximately there. So when I say the end of the earlobe, it's on the lower part of the lower lip, or it's, yes, in the lower part of the lower lip, then it should be here. So horizontal line, you got the end of the ear. Now the ear itself, it's an extreme angle here. That's another 45 degree angle. So this is almost so the way that the ear appears to be, it's about 45 degree to that 45 degree angle, or it's almost parallel to chin, cheekbone, forehead, chin, cheekbone, forehead. That angle. It's not exactly the same angle, but it's very, very similar. So it's a bit more like that, I would say. Now, so we got the angle of the ear. The thing is that where do I put that line of the angle of the ear? It's here, it's there, it's there, it's there, or it's there. Now, that will be by measuring, that we will decide this by measuring where the end of the ear is. So tip of the nose to the ear, take that and move it to the left, and that goes there. So that means that the ear is way beyond the middle of the squarish inverted comma head that we have here. So if it's a square head, and then you have an angle here. Oh, sorry, the middle of the square. So you have an angle here. We have an angle here. We have an angle there, and the middle of from that angle to that, it's approximately in the middle of the ear. So let's get this one sorted from there to there. So that brings the ear to somewhere here. We said that because from that line to that line, let's see, I'm measuring half, another half. So it's the ear is approximately there. So let's get the shape of the ear and get that line, which is, as I said, the end of the eye, and that line suggests top of the ear, and that other line suggests the bottom of the ear. Okay, now, but that makes the head. I can see immediately that top of the ear to the top of the hair, that distance is too short. So let's see what's going on here. Then take the skull, move it there. Take the skull, move it there. So that is further up because we have the skull underneath the hair. So we have the skull underneath the hair, and we can add a little bit more, a flick of hair on the top of the skull, and that will make a little bit more sense now and push the ear a little bit further down. And also that hair comes down at the top of the ear. Okay, now here you have the hair, which is basically, you have the contour, the outline of the hair, like that. and it's approximately there. Okay, so far. Too many lines. Okay, now that will be the end of the squarish inverted comma head. So I mean that will be the line which is actually defining the end of the squarish head. And then you have that which is on a vertical line underneath, so the Adam's up here is right under the eye, so that will bring the Adam's apple here, there. Okay, and of course we have lots of, I mean it's a shadow. That's another triangle, by the way. Look, again it's an approximate triangle because we have that dent here, so it's an approximate triangular shape, but then we still have that stuff kind of dark. And another, well, that's the shape, that's the triangle shape that we said earlier on. Another one, we have it here, which we're going back to that triangular shape, and that is again on a middle tone shadow, middle tone. So this shadow here, okay, so let's go back again, and we, as I said, we have a darker triangle down here and a less dark, more of a middle tone of that triangle over there. Then we have the an imaginary line which connects both top of the ear and the bottom, I mean top of the ear cartilage with the bottom here, with the earlobe. Then a bit of a darker tone, which is this one here, and the ear itself. The ear just casts a shadow underneath it. So we have that dark casting shadow of the ear down here. That top of the triangle is where the eye is, which we've done at the beginning. Top of the triangle where the eye is, that's the eye. Then you have the eyelid, which is a line, it's almost horizontal. It's not actually horizontal, it's kind of slightly bended upwards. Then you have the eyebrow, forehead, a hairline, which is on a angle is about 10 degrees, hairline to the end of the eye, a darker tone. Then we have the sideburn, another angle here, which is about, again, it's almost parallel with that line, and it's not a, it's an irregular shape. It's not perfect, it's just bended. Then the neck itself here, and not to forget that middle tone here on the neck. Okay, and then the hair, of course the hair is all dark, so let's give it a darker tone. Now we have a horizontal line which is by the collar here, and on a horizontal line that stops above the Adam's apple, so that is, we've got it correct here. So this is supposedly the end of the elongated rectangular shape or square. Now the square would normally end here, so that's an extension of the square. Or we have two options: end the square here, which I makes it more of a square, or we can have an elongated shape, which in this case we have an elongated shape, but the square, so that imaginary line which you see here, that's more like parallel to that line there. So by the end of where the hair meets the collar here. but we cannot ignore the hair, so let's keep it. Okay, let's not get confused with that. Basically, just get that rectangular shape as it is, and then give it a darker tone on the whole of the hair here. Okay, now I've got the basis, or the basics. What I need to concentrate now is actually add and place the lips. Now, middle of the lips, it's on a horizontal line, is by the earlobe. So earlobe here, that's where the middle of the lip is. And there's a characteristic, because of the perspective, as we look in, we have a lot more jaw being seen and revealed than we would have if it was a normal profile. But it's not, because he's turning on his on his left. So that means that we see a lot more of the jaw here. Okay, so that means that the distance between the nose and the upper lip seems too short. But it's normal. I mean, it's normal, it's a normal face. So that means that, but because of perspective, we see there's a much smaller distance between the nose and the middle of the lip. So that's the middle of the lip, philtrum, and you have the nose up here, nostril, and the shadow of the nostril on the basis. Then we have the middle of the lip, lower lip, which is that line here. On a vertical line, this lower lip exceeds the nose. Do you see? Exceeds the nose. So that means that if I did there, that exceeds the nose. So the lower lip potentially could come up here. Yes, a little bit there. And extend. Now, should I keep that line as a guiding line until the end, or should I adjust with what I see here and how that comes about? That means that I can exceed my drawing here and not keep in line with with the first triangular shape, because that triangular shape is not a precise shape. It's not a precise line. It was there, but then, and then that's the basis. But then what about this shape? So we have to add it as we go along and adjust with the new drawing. So I'm here now, and then the lower lip, I think I went too far off. I think it's a little bit further inwards. And upper lip, nose, eye, eyebrow, there. And you see that now shows that the nose seems to be a bit too long, so that I can adjust the nose and put it up a little bit more. So now let's go back. So as we moved along, as we moved down here, as I moved more to the right, the chin, now the nose seems to be a little bit too long. So you see I'm adjusting the nose and the lips here, so bringing that, because you can see that there's something wrong there. The lips were too close to the end of the chin. So now let's reevaluate. The end of the earlobe on a horizontal line is just under the middle of the lip. So the end of the nose, end of the ear is right under the lower lip. So let's bring back and redraw the lips. So the lips that were here, I've moved them up. As I move them up, the nose seems to be a little bit too long. So you see, when you start measuring, when you have the measures in place, and then especially on the features, which are it's a very small area, which can go wrong very quickly. As we measured that horizontal line, as I'm going here, and then I had the top horizontal line, which is the top of the ear, end of the ear, and then everything in between these two lines, which is the nose, lips, I could now see that there's something wrong there. The lips were too close to the nose and also too low. So you can see with the naked eye, there is no need to measure, because not everything comes by measuring. So let's do that angle here, which is ear. Just go there. So ear, that triangular shape, ear, end of the lip, and the beginning of the chin. So that line here, that's the chin. And so the lip, the end of the lip is above that line. Now it will look complicated, but then I'm doing it by measuring, but then I could do it with a naked eye. So I think for us, for the students, to help ourselves is to by measuring. With a naked eye you can get it, but if it goes wrong, it goes horribly wrong. Basically it doesn't look like him, or the chin will be a lot of will be extended a lot, so too much chin or too little lips or too big eye for that perspective there. So it's good to, and it's advised to measure it. Now, but this, if those measures are too much, then I would suggest basically working with the squares and middle of the square, and then that line, and then everything between that line which connects forehead, cheekbone, end of the lip, chin. That will be basically your way to go, that go, well, the starting basically of adding all these little well, they're not details, but you know, features basically. So there are many ways of approach the drawing, but I think that's the most accurate one. And the most safe one. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll record it quickly because I'm going to add shadows now. So I'll stop it now, and then I'll start adding shadows based on those shapes. That triangular shape, another triangular shape here. So that's the top. We have another one here, where we said end of the earlobe, chin, then Adam's apple, and then all the little shapes in between. Okay, so I'll do it with a quick hyperlapse. So there's no need basically to talk now. Okay, so basically what I was doing is just highlighting the middle tones, extremely soft middle tones here, and here, and here. So all the light middle tones are neck, jaw, and cheekbone. So this is what I was actually doing there. So now with the putty rubber, getting all over those light areas, and then lit them up as much as possible. There. Going on the top here, cheekbone, then sideburn to the ear, and some soft hair there, which is not dark at all. Highlighting the chin a little bit more, and let that line define. So instead of working with a line or using the charcoal or pencil, I'm going to use the putty rubber, and that will define the chin. That will define the Adam's apple here as well by working on the background in this case. A straight line to define the neck as well, and a very soft light here, which is going to be by barely touching with the putty rubber, shape it onto very sharp edge, as you can see, and then using it sideways and defining the neck as well. And there's a very soft shadow which goes diagonally there, and that's what I'm trying to work on here. Very, very soft shadow. And a hint of highlight here, this area here. There, that defines the chin, the jaw, sorry. Chin is here. And that soft, very soft middle tone here. Eyelid, and the eye itself is looking low, and the forehead defined with a line. The ear, very soft there as well, and by working on ear and being a little bit more detailed on the ear, that will make the ear jump more towards us, because actually it's the only feature that we can see in a lot more detail than the rest. Not eyes, not nose, not mouth, they're all semi-profile, but the ear it's also semi-profile, but it's the closest to us in the distance between us and the head. The ear is the closest to us, so it's more detailed. Comes first, I was going to say. If you approach the head, you're going to bang on the ear first, so you give it a little bit more detail. Okay. Lower lip, upper lip, and a very soft tone of value here. There. All right, I think if I insist more on it, it will actually overload the page with paper, with shadows and middle tones, and we lose. I don't think he's going to gain a lot. So I'm trying to be a little bit more decisive here with the shadows, but they're so soft, so they're not intense at all. So it's hard to get those extremely soft shadows here without overloading it with darks and also brighten it too much when it's not needed. And then so that middle tone here as well, that's important. Bring it back, put it back. And that's the sponge. Okay. I think I'll have to leave it at that. And get a little bit more darks here. The jaw. And just, I want to re-emphasize that very soft light. Just a little bit, just to redefine that light here, which is between the chin and, well, it goes back to the jaw. All that light. That was a bit too much though. That was too sharp. So let's go back and lose that sharp edge. Light, sharp light here. There. Okay. All right, then see you on the next one. Right, time, so the date, 17th.